Welcome to this week's episode of eThekwini Matters. My name is Zimbili Mazibuko and I'm your host. Despite being confronted with numerous challenges, eThekwini Electricity persists in its unwavering efforts to combat electricity theft and vandalism, which threaten the reliability and sustainability of the power grid. In keeping up with these efforts, the unit has introduced streamlined fault reporting mechanisms that seek to provide customers with efficient channels to report issues. Today in studio, we are joined by eThekwini's acting head of electricity, Veer Ramnarian. Welcome to eThekwini Matters, Mr. R.
Good morning, Zimbili, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the ratepayers.
It's good to have you here today. What are some of the challenges that the city is currently facing when it comes to delivering electricity services to residents?
Well, the first one that comes to mind, and the most obvious one, is our aging infrastructure that has aged over a number of years. And as our communities have grown, they have become problematic to us. And then the obvious one is uncontrolled theft and vandalism of our infrastructure. That is posing a huge challenge for eThekwini Metro. Compounded to this, we have the issue of declining revenue and increasing costs. So it's quite a balancing act to attend to these problems and at the same token know that we have declining revenue.
Talking about the aging infrastructure and the vandalism of the infrastructure, how is the city dealing with those challenges?
Okay, so we're very fortunate in eThekwini in that we have lots of good technicians, technologists and engineers. And when faults do occur on a network and are repeat faults, our engineers undertake quite in-depth analysis into these networks. Based on that, we propose network improvement plans and maintenance plans, including replacement plans as well. Okay. On the transmission side, which is the high voltage side, we have a 25-year horizon, which should give the residents quite a bit of confidence. We look at 25 years ahead, and we have a network master plan for expanding and growing our network as well.
Tell us more about the plans that you have in place for infrastructure replacement, upgrades.
Okay, so on the distribution side, which is the medium and low voltage side, on that we have a asset replacement plan. So the asset replacement plan looks at the next few years ahead, and based on that we will replace aged cables or cables that are problematic. Some of the cables have been damaged due to theft and vandalism and to other factors, and we would replace them. We also have network expansion plans based on where the load growth is taking place. And you'd appreciate that eThekwini being a growing city as well, lots of growth taking place in the north of the city, and most recently towards the west with the development of West Town. There's going to be a huge demand for capacity in those areas. So we would expand our networks based on where the demand is.
Now we know that there are areas within eThekwini that seem to experience, outages almost all the time. Places like Umlazi, places like Zwelibomvu, and many others in the city. Tell us about those places. Are there areas that are on intermittent power supply?
Okay, so the areas that you mentioned, yes, a few amongst others as well, have been problematic, and I must apologize to the ratepayers for the quality of supply they're getting. But there have been external factors that have contributed to the quality of supply in this area. The one is that networks are aged, and over the number of decades as those areas have grown, the demand for electricity has grown as well. We need to now replace those aged cables. The positive news or the good news to our ratepayers is that we have an asset replacement program to replace those aged 240 millimeter and 300 millimeter XLP cables. And that program has already started. And the communities just need to bear with us, but in the near future, their quality of supply will be a lot better than what it currently is.
And how important is the role of customers, especially in protecting electrical infrastructure? What can, our communities do to help the city?
So Zimbili, this is an excellent question, because this is where active community participation has a major role in terms of combating theft and vandalism of infrastructure. We quite often see on social media communities filming criminals doing unwanted stuff on our networks, like stealing cables and performing illegal connections. And we're saying that instead of recording that and posting on social media, how about also reporting it to the law enforcement agencies with the evidence that you have? On a second attempt as well, we've got communities that have taken a proactive stance in protecting our infrastructure, especially distributor substations that have been vandalized continuously by thieves and criminals. In these cases, some communities and CPFs have taken it upon themselves to protect those assets for us. And we're saying it's a joint initiative that with us as a municipality and the communities, we can win this battle against criminals.
Now, Mr. R, what are some of the common mistakes or actions that customers can avoid to prevent damage to infrastructure?
Yeah, so the obvious one is to make sure that when people are working in your area, in your community, that you're aware that they are legitimately there, that they are not digging a cable for the sake of theft. A typical example is in communities where we had the fiber network operators that were laying fiber cables in these communities. Communities that were proactive ensured that those were legitimate companies that were digging up the roads and our infrastructure. They also then made sure that those contractors had drawings from the municipality to show where the infrastructure is so they do not damage our water pipes and our electricity cables. And then they also monitor their performance as well. So yeah, the main thing is that when you see suspicious activity in your area, make sure you know that it's legitimate work taking place in your area.
Can you tell us more about the city's fault reporting channels?
Yeah, so this has been a problem for a number of years, Zimbili, and I think we have lots of communities that have complained to us, particularly with the call center, which is really outdated technology, if we admit it, okay? Phoning a contact center and waiting for someone to answer the call in the middle of a storm, and you sit for minutes and sometimes maybe an hour.
Yes.
We've now introduced other mechanisms because we are in a technology age. So we introduce web logging, so you can log your faults on the internet if you have access to the website. You can also then send an email and you will get a reference number. But the most exciting one is our most recent introduction of the chatbot. Okay, using your WhatsApp, and majority of people have WhatsApp. You send a WhatsApp message to the chatbot and a robot communicates with you on text messages. And you get a reference number almost instantaneously, you know. And it's a very easy to follow, it's predetermined prompts. And to me, that is the most encouraging development we've had.
They can also use the eThekwini mobile app.
Yes, they can use the mobile app, which has been launched as well, and has got a number of users that have downloaded the app as well.
And how do this platform enhance the overall customer experience?
Well, certainly it reduced customer frustration. You know, besides not having electricity, the bigger frustration was getting through to the contact center. So by introducing these additional channels, we've now made it a lot easier for customers to report faults so that we are aware where the faults are.
Would you like to add anything else?
No, I think we just want to encourage our customers to report suspicious activities to the law enforcement agencies, but also to use these modern platforms that we have created as well. We obviously in the coming years will embrace further technologies as well, because we also want to keep our customers updated when faults happen before they even are aware of it. So if a customer is not at home, we want to send you an automated message to say, we are aware of your fault and we are working on it. So that's the future technology that's coming up.
Veer, you haven't told us about the smart outage management system. What is that?
Okay,
how does it work?
Okay, so the outage management system is one where we will have visibility from our control center of the networks out there. So when an area goes off, we will, via our meters and our devices out in the field, know that a fault has occurred in a particular area. Okay, we can then automatically dispatch our staff to those areas. It will assist us with fault finding. We'll do it a lot quicker. Customers will not have to phone us to tell us that there's a fault in the area unless they want to. Okay, and based on that, we will be able to then repair the fault a lot quicker. The more positive thing, Zimbili, about the outage management system is it has proactive mechanism of informing customers of the status of the fault. So for example, it has milestones. When we dispatch someone, we can automatically SMS you as a customer and say, Zimbili, we are aware of your fault in your area, a resource has been dispatched. If the resource is now busy fault finding, there's a state change in the system. We can automatically SMS you and say, Zimbili, we are aware of the fault, but we are busy fault finding. And we will keep you updated along the way as we repair the fault. So that's the advantage of an outage management system.
Okay, so when is it expected to start?
So we had our first attempt a few years ago, and we realized that an outage management system is very data intensive. It requires a lot of interfaces with a lot of various systems in a city, okay, which we are not ready for those many years ago. We are now want to have a second attempt at it, and we are trying to source funding to implement an outage management system, which is very expensive, by the way.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. R. That was Veer Ramnarian, the acting head of eThekwini Electricity. My name is Zimbili Mazibuko, and from myself and the entire team, it's good night and goodbye. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe.